walk through the scene. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at the beach. Plus, the beach doesn't represent what the president's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be working. He's supposed to be getting us out of that horrible, horrible war that we're very much involved in with Russia and Ukraine. You could do that. You could do that very easily. I believe you could do that very. I don't believe he could do it because he's just incompetent. But that's a war that should end immediately, not because of one side or the other, because hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. Can you imagine you're in an apartment house and rockets are going into that building and blowing it up and knocking it down? And why should anybody, human beings, whether they're Russian or Ukrainian or whatever they are, it's got to be stopped, and it can't be stopped very easily. It would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started.
So back to Biden, so you think he's failing? He obviously is failing, and it's clear to everybody. But that would make Kamala Harris the candidate?
Well, not really. I mean, I guess they'd have maybe a free-for-all. A lot of people say she has to remain for certain reasons the candidate. She has to. I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that other people would stand for it. She has some bad moments. Her moments are almost as bad as his. I think his are worse, actually.
Yeah. She seems pretty senile, too.
She speaks in rhyme. It's weird. It's weird. But she has bad moments.
And in rhyme?
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here, and then the bus will go there, because that's what buses do. And it's weird. The whole thing is weird. This is not a president of the United States future. And I think they probably have some kind of a primary, and other people will get involved.
Newsom, right?
I always got along well with him, believe it or not, but could be him, could be somebody else. He's got a big load on his shoulders, because you look at California, what's happened. But I don't know if the American people really, the people that vote for him, I don't even know if they care. You know, you look at so many of the things that are going on, and people don't seem to be. In the old days, if you had a bad record, it meant a lot. Today, if you have a bad record, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, he looks good, he's a nice-looking guy, speaks well. But Biden, every time you watch him talk, it's like he's walking on eggs. You're waiting for him to collapse. And he almost always does. And I got to know the leaders of all of the countries, essentially, but the big ones. And the bigger, the tougher the leader. You know, it's like, so yeah, I guess maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. But I got to know President Xi of China and Putin and Kim Jong-un, North Korea. They did a great job with North Korea, kept us out of a nuclear war. We would have 40,000 dead soldiers right now. They drop a nuke right on top of the military base. But we have 40,000 soldiers over there. And I think I got along with him great. So that's a positive. You know, the press said, he said nice things about Kim Jong-un. I also said horrible things at the beginning. Horrible enough that he wanted to talk. And we talked, and we met in Singapore. We met actually twice. And we had unbelievable meetings. I know him very well. We were in great shape with him.
What do you think he and Xi and Putin think about him?
I think they can't believe it. I think they probably say this is some kind of a system. You know, they had great respect for our country. They respected me. They had great respect for our country when I was there. Every one of them. If you go to North Korea, you take a look at what happened. You know, the Olympics was dead. South Korea spent billions on the Olympics. Nobody was going to go. They didn't want to get blown up. They called me and they said, we're going to let the Olympics proceed. This is North Korea. I said, you should have went to the Olympics. Put your athletes in. I just think they were big on athletes because, you know,
famine.
But they went in, and they actually participated. And within about 2 days, the entire thing was sold out. I mean, it wasn't me. That would have never happened. But I got along very well with him, and it's a positive thing. He does have massive nuclear power, by the way. And if Hillary would have gotten in, or if the Obama thought process continued, it would have been a nuclear war, absolutely, with North Korea. He was expecting to go through a war, and it would have been a nuclear war.
So do you think the rest of the world looks on at Biden and thinks someone else has got to be running the government?
Well, somebody else has to be. I don't think he's capable of doing anything else. When I debated him, I said, how come, and this was in front of, probably not in front of, it was Chris Wallace, who was the moderator. I said, why is he, wants to be Mike, but he doesn't have the talent. It's one of those.
Itchy little man.
He wanted to be his father, but he didn't have the talent. His father was great.
He's a little fussy man.
His father interviewed me in 60 Minutes. It was actually a 10. Can you believe it?
I'm like, I told him. His father had talent.
You know, I may have been the only guy that he gave a good 60 Minutes, so he was right.
Really?
His father was tough. He was great, though. He was great what he did. But Chris Wallace was so upset. He was guarding this guy who wouldn't do a show, by the way. And he wouldn't do I figured I didn't like Chris Wallace because he wouldn't do, Biden wouldn't do a show. And it was very obvious. You know, he kept asking and asking, but he wouldn't do the show. So I figured he's got to like me. But he came from a different planet. But remember when I asked the question, why is it that the mayor of Moscow's wife is allowed to give you $3.5 million? Don't forget, that was brought up now, it's brought up all the time, but that was brought up by me long before we ever heard of it. I said, the mayor of Moscow's wife giving you $3.5 million. What did you do to deserve $3.5 million? Goodbye. And Chris Wallace said, this has nothing to do with the debate. I mean,
He got in the way of the question.
no, it was crazy. And I said, well, wait a minute, he got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Now, people forget that, but you can go back and take a look. You will see. And Chris Wallace didn't want me to ask that question. I said, I think it's a very appropriate question. It turned out to be much more appropriate than people thought.
Amazing. So do you have a preference assuming you're the Republican nominee and all those as you plan to go, do you have a preference in who you run against?
In many ways, I love going against him because his record's so bad. You know, it's still horrible when you look at the inflation and everything else, but there's also a very bad record. So in California, there's a bad record. So, you know, should it be Gavin or should it be somebody else? When I look at San Francisco, what's happened to that incredible city? That was one of the greatest cities in the world just a short while ago. Now it's very sad when you look at it. Los Angeles, every city practically, all the Democrat-run cities, even Republican-run cities are doing very nicely because they arrest people when you have crimes. And they don't go after political candidates because they think it's good, you know. I mean, it's like been amazing. My poll numbers are the highest I've ever had. But because people understand it.
Well, so can I just ask you, that gets back to my original question. So if the protest didn't work, you got elected anyway. Impeachment didn't work twice, obviously. Indictment is not working. Your poll numbers go up. When they raided Mar-a-Lago in August of last year, your numbers went up. They can indict you 20 times, and you're not gonna lose the Republican primary because of that.
Well, so it makes it look even more ridiculous. I mean, the 4 indictments, and maybe there'll be more. I don't know. These people are crazy.
But they're counterproductive. So if you chart it out, it's an escalation, is what I'm saying. So what's next after, trying to put you in prison for the rest of your life? That's not working. So, don't they have to kill you now?
I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are. And I'm not sure I would have said this 10 years ago, but they get it. You know, they really get it. When somebody gets indicted, your poll numbers go down. When somebody gets indicted, you announce, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be leaving to spend time with my family and to fight for the rest of my life on this stuff. But you're out of politics. I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's horrible when you look and you look at what they're doing. The boxes hooks, I'm covered by the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do exactly that. He's not covered, and he's got 25 times the number of boxes. And he's got them stored in Chinatown. He's got them stored in a flimsy garage underneath his Corvette. At Penn, and by the way, at Penn he gets millions of dollars. China pays this guy millions of dollars. See, I think he's the most corrupt president we've ever had. And he also has the distinction of being the most incompetent. And I believe both. I mean, he's both incompetent and corrupt. So I actually believe he's compromised because China knows so much about him. They know where the money comes from. They know where it is, who paid it, and they probably paid it. And well, they do pay Penn, and he gets $1 million. I think it takes $999,000 because keeps it a little bit under $1 million, like by $1. But he, in many ways, is a Manchurian candidate. We have a Manchurian candidate. And he's afraid to tell Russia to get out of Cuba. He's afraid to tell China to get out of Cuba. He's afraid. China now is building, think of this, China's building military installations in Cuba. The Cuban population of Miami is not too happy because they're never going to be able to go back. And you don't even hear about it. And the worst culprit is the press, the media, because normally, when I first heard that China's building installations in Cuba, and installations means military installations, okay, there's just some communication. They did that on the islands with Japan. They took the island, they started this massive construction, and they told everybody, including the Japanese have to be very careful, they told everybody that this is a housing development. They're going to build a housing development. And I said, how come the runway is 20,000 feet long? Private jets need 4,000 feet. They don't need 20,000 feet. The big ones need 20,000 feet. They don't even need 20. And I looked at the runway. I said, that's the largest runway ever built, both in width and length, for housing development. There's nobody that has a plane that big that you would have a runway that's
why is China allowed to conduct imperialism in our hemisphere?
Well, yeah, and it's far beyond Cuba. It's all over South America.
Yeah, the Caribbean.
So we built a thing called the Panama Canal. We lost 35,000 people to the mosquito malaria. Yeah. We lost 35,000 people building. We lost 35,000 people because of the mosquito. Vicious. They had to build under nets. It was one of the true great wonders of the world. As he said, one of the 9 wonders of the world. It was one of the 7 that just happened a little while ago. So 9 wonders of the world. You could make 9 wonders. He would have been better off if we stuck with the 9 and just said, yeah, I think it's 9. But this is one of the true 7 wonders of the world. And you take a look at the Panama Canal. It was such an incredible engineering marvel. We sold it under Jimmy Carter. We sold it to Panama for $1. The following day, they quadrupled the amount of money that ships had to pay to get across. They didn't lose one ship, and now they've made it much bigger, and now they've widened it. They've doubled it, right? They've more than doubled it. And it's one of the most profitable things. Any time, it's just incredible, right? We gave it away for $1. China now controls it. They actually control the Panama Canal. They run it, they control it. And we shouldn't let that happen. And we can't let China be in Cuba. And they'll get out. If I'm president, they'll get out. Because I had a very good relationship with President Xi, but he respected this country, he respected me. And he'll get out. And we can't let them run the Panama Canal. We built the Panama Canal. Should have never been given to Panama. We should have had it. But we gave it for $1. Think of it. They quadrupled. In one day, they lifted the fees, which are, pretty big, for these massive ships to go through, right? Rather than going around the Cape and through all the tremendous storms, such beauty, it's beautiful stuff. But you didn't want to get caught in those storms. Those were storms that wiped out the biggest ships. And we go through the Panama Canal, we built it, and we gave it away for $1. Think of that. How stupid are we? We have done the stupidest things in this country. And now we have a president that can't put 2 sentences together, can't speak, can't walk, can't talk. I don't think he gets to the Saudi gate, but these people do miracles. I mean, he ran out of his basement, and he got away with that one because of COVID, so he sort of got away with it. They cheated on the election. But you have people that are very smart, but they're fascists, and they're radical left lunatics, and they're destroying our country with the all-electric cars and the windmills all over the place, which, by the way, don't work, and they're all, most of them made in China. For the most part, they're made in China. Germany a little bit, but China. But you look at what's happening to our country, even no voter ID. I mean, why don't they want voter ID? There's only one reason they don't want voter ID, because they want to cheat. Who doesn't want, the Democrat convention, the last one, they had voter ID that was this big. It looked like a prison guard, this big on their chest. You walked in, your picture, your this, your fingerprint, he had everything. The most incredible voter ID I've ever seen. That was to get into the Democrat National Convention. But to get into vote, if you buy groceries, if you buy practically anything, now you have ID on a card. Credit cards or otherwise.
But don't you think it's racist to have to show your ID?
Well, they probably say that. They use anything not to show ID because voter ID is pretty simple. And voter ballots, voter ID, same-day voting. France did it. France had mail-in ballots, and it was terrible. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have massive cheating on your elections. Anytime, not just the presidential election. Anytime you have.
Is that the whole point of that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. So that's the whole point. They want to cheat, yeah. They have to cheat because their policies are so bad that if they didn't cheat, they couldn't get elected. Who wants open borders? Who wants high taxes? Who wants high interest rates? Who wants to not be able to use a gas stove? Or have to drive an electric car, which, you have a 4-hour drive, but the car only goes an hour and a half, so you have to charge it. The happiest moment for somebody in an electric car is the first 10 minutes. In other words, you get it charged, and now for 10 minutes. The unhappiest part is the next hour, because you're petrified that you're not going to be fine to another charger. People, I'm saying, I'm not knocking electric cars, they're fine. They're fine. But if people want to buy a gasoline car or a hybrids are pretty good, actually. But they should be allowed to buy. They don't want to do any of this. So right now, California's in a big brownout because their grid is a disaster. The grid all over the country is sort of a disaster, but the grid in California. And yet, they want to have an virtual period of time. Millions and millions of cars going off that grid, essentially. It doesn't work.
So plug your car into a grid that's
You should be able to buy an electric car. Electric cars could be fun if you drive short distances and you want to have, whatever, and you have plug-ins everywhere you go. And they could be fine. But you're going to have gasoline cars, you're going to have everything. Let people buy everything. Now the new thing is your heating systems in the house. They don't want you to have a modern-day heating system. They want you to use a heating system that will cost you at least $10,000 to buy and won't work very well. None of this stuff works as well. One of the things I did with the EPA is you have states, many states, most of the states have so much water. It comes out of heaven, right? The water pours down and you have it. It's there. It's going to go wherever it goes, into the oceans, whatever. It's not like a big problem. Now, in some states they have a problem. You have some desert areas and all, and for that it's okay. But they have sinks where no water comes out. You turn it on, no water comes out. No water comes out of the shower. No water is allowed to go into the washing machine for your dishes or for your clothing. And I avoided all of that.
Wait, they have sinks where no water comes out?
Sure, you have restrictors. When I say no water, very little water. You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, and you turn on the sink and it's very little. Or you want to wash your beautiful hair, right? And you're standing under a shower. If the water comes out very strong, I'm sure you say this, it usually takes place in new hotels in New Orleans.
Yeah, you take a drill and take the...
Well, you can, but now they make it so you can't do that so easily. They have a restrictor. It's called a restrictor. And it restricts the water from coming in. So I ended all of that, and you have to see these, they let the water come in. People do it, wash their hands like 5 times longer, or the washing machine that press for the, let's say the dishwasher, to press it. Press it about 7 or 8 times. So now that using no water, I still won't be very good. I met with the head of Whirlpool. They were actively going out of business during my administration, and they said to me from Ohio, great state, I live on Ohio, that they were really badly because people were dumping washing machines all over, mostly from South Korea, but also from China. And he was explaining it's just a terrible situation. So let me ask you, how's the quality? He says, we're proud of the quality, good enough quality. Everyone, of course, is going to say that. That's enough. They are better. So they don't allow us. They're dumping these machines. They're cutting us in half. They're killing us. And on top of it, the government won't let us use water in their machines. He said, and I figured it all out. And I put tariffs on these countries that were selling other machines coming into the country. And that company went from a big quarter washing machine company, different washing machines that make guys in the building with different machines that do this kind of work, including dishwashers. And they went from this disaster to being just thriving.
Well, just like your hair system. Why should EPA, no one in EPA is elected by anybody, why do they have the power to decide how much water your washing machine should be? Where's the evidence?
You can say that.
So how do you, that's my question, how do you, if you get elected again, go back to Washington, how do you keep the agencies under control? How do you keep FBI and CIA specifically under control?
The way you do it, like was a big deal. You know, a lot of people said, "Oh, fire Mario, it's so much harder. I wish you would fire him." There's a real question about firing him. Anyway, you understand, because, you know, when they have a 10-year term, there is a question. I fired Comey. That was a great thing. If I didn't fire Comey, maybe I wouldn't be talking to you, or I'd be talking to you about real estate or something else other than politics, right? That was a coup, in my opinion. That was a very sick deal. That was the insurance policy. You remember the insurance policy?
Yep, that was the insurance policy. So I want to know how the fuck they got away with that.
Just in case she doesn't. We have an
That's
insurance
fucking
policy.
stupid.
The insurance policy was what they were doing. And we caught them.
Yeah.
That was a very important tweet or whatever it was, text. It was a big deal. That was a big
deal. Ain't nobody,
insurance policy.
and nobody knew nothing about it.
She's going to win 100 million to
Nothing.
1. That's not good odds. At least they gave me one, right? 100 million to 1. But just in case she doesn't win, we have an insurance.
You got an insurance policy. They said it.
That's strange.
Yeah, that's strange like a motherfucker. They said they got an insurance policy.
I fired Comey because when I fired Comey, it was like throwing a rock into a hornet's nest.
Yep.
Into a nest of bees, and the place went crazy.
So when you were president, are you confident that you knew everything, say, CIA was doing?
No, I'm not. It's a very interesting group of people. I have very good relationships, I thought, but I was a little surprised when I got out that, you know, things going on. Look,
What were you surprised by?
I was surprised. I think at some of the people. I was surprised that there was. I had a group of people. We killed many using the CIA. I have to say this. Bad, very bad actors who were very good at it. You look at Soleimani. You look at al-Baghdadi. Bigger than Osama bin Laden. I mean, Osama bin Laden is, but al-Baghdadi gave ISIS, and he was rebuilding ISIS very strongly.
And that was the CIA that did that.
That was really us that did that.
Yeah.
That was really us that did that. And so it was us that did that, not so much CIA. But we did some very good work with the CIA. When I started, you know, when I looked at the 51 intelligence agents saying that was the laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, when I took a look at that, I said, that's a horrible thing. They knew it wasn't. They knew it was not. And by the way, you're talking about cheating in the election. McLaughlin and Fabrizio, great pollsters, they said a thing like that plus other things meant anywhere from 10 to 17% of the vote would change.
What happened to Mike Pence? You've always been nice to Pence. I've never heard you criticize Pence. You've defended the Republic.
Yeah, fuck him. Pence is a motherfucker snake in the grass. Pence is a snake in the grass.
In my opinion, Mike Pence had the absolute right to send the votes back to the legislatures. The Democrats and everybody said, you don't have the right. In other words, what I said is here, do it for America. I mean, if he finds for it, in Pennsylvania, in any of these states, Arizona, he has to send it to Mitch McConnell, right? That's right, sir. But if he finds for it, he has to, yes, sir. I said, so he's just, so he's a conveyor belt. No, wait a minute. I said, I don't agree with that. And we had senators, right? We had senators that said, no, you do have the right to send them back to the legislatures to be rechecked. Because if you look at what's going on in Wisconsin, we got to now agree with it. Wisconsin has been virtually, other than the fact they're not allowed to do anything statutorily, but Wisconsin has been, what they found is incredible. We won Wisconsin. But Mike Pence had the right, in my opinion, to send it back.
He promised me passport and job in Vale of Silicon.
Very disappointed in.
We have the deal.
I didn't want to do what Thomas Jefferson did. Thomas Jefferson, it was Georgia. And it was here.
Okay,
the
shit.
great state of Georgia.
All right, go to the bridge. Network runs through Point on Center Console.
Tabulate the
Mr. Hertz still gives job,
Thomas
yes.
Jefferson was
I
the vice
American
president.
now.
So is Georgia sure that they cannot tabulate the votes? Georgia is sure. He didn't send them back and tabulate the vote. He said, we will keep the votes of the great state of Georgia for Thomas Jefferson and his president. I didn't ask him for that. Could have done that too, but I didn't. I thought that would be too much. I asked him to send him back to his legislature to the legislatures, you know, in Wisconsin would say.
But why didn't he? I mean, you worked here for 4 years. You're the president. He's VP. You say you're aligned on everything.
I think he got very bad advice. I really do. Now, let me tell you what happened. I sat there with a few people. I think his lawyer was in there. His lawyer was very much against it. There were other lawyers that felt you could do it. It was one of those things that I think you could have done it. I think you can always do something if you see fraud or if you see problems.
You see fucking corruption.
So,
Fuck. You can always do something against corruption.
the Rhinos got
You're supposed
the
to.
Democrats, and they redid the election, so you couldn't do it anymore. So then I called the people. I said, so in other words, you're saying I was right. You could do it. Yes, you could do it. In other words, they took the voting act and they redid it so the vice president no longer has the power to do what I say he could do.
Nah.
So when that happened, I said, wow. So, and you.
So like I said again, when you look at it, it's all a fucking game. And we allowing them to play the game because they fucking criminals and then nobody being held accountable for fucking lying. That's the bullshit right there.
You look some of these Democrats in the eye and they say, he has absolutely no right to do it. And immediately after the election, they met rhinos, to name them all, and Democrats.
Both of them.
And they approved
Both of them.
legislation
Both of them.
that takes away the right of the vice
Both of
president to do it. So
Both
I
of
said,
Both of
so
them.
you're saying I was right.
Yeah, you was
The
right.
vice president did have the right to do it, and they said, yes,
Yep.
he did.
So
Both of
you're saying they stole it from you last time. Why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they'll try. Or they will try, yeah. But, and not only me. You know. Look, DeSantis is out. I think he's gone. So he was at a level. These people have figured him out. He's gone. But if somebody else got in, other than me, they'll go at him just as viciously as they did me.
Yep.
These people are sick, and they will go after them. And a lot of people say they won't be able to hold up. I do get credit for holding up quite well. I must tell you. I think it's.
How do you do that? How do you get indicted, every week and stay cheerful?
It's, I think it's a lot easier because I'm so high in the polls, because it means the people get it. The people see it's a fraud. The people
Yep.
see it. Like
Yep.
this horrible district attorney from just a little while ago.
This shit just don't make no
From
sense.
essentially Atlanta, that's Fulton County. She said basically I don't have any right to challenge an election. Well, what about Stacey Abrams? What about Hillary Clinton? What about all of these Democrats that are still challenging my election? The same people that are saying he's challenging an election challenged my election. And they did it with slates. They did it with all sorts of things. They were very bad about it. But basically they're suing me and they're saying you don't have any right to challenge it. If you challenge an election, we're going to indict you and put you in jail. So what they're doing is they've weaponized, and don't kid yourself, the DOJ and Biden and the whole group, they're watching all of this stuff. They love the local stuff, the DA in Manhattan. Not only that, they put one of the DOJ top people into the Manhattan DA's office to run things. They don't even have a case against me. It's not even a case. Everyone says, even the Democrats say, you can't bring these cases. You have no case. The Attorney General or the District Attorney, Fannie Willis, in Atlanta, she's getting killed. Basically, she's saying Trump doesn't have the right to criticize an election. But you've been around long enough now. You've seen many elections criticized. I mean, Hillary Clinton goes crazy. Every time she talks, she says, he's not the president, Jimmy Carter said. He's not the president. Well, I am the president. Hillary Clinton called me, by the way, at 3:02 in the morning to congratulate me the night of the election.
Did her voice crack?
Well, her voice was, it's very different, I will say. I won't get into that. But
What do you mean?
her voice was very different. Don't forget, they were all celebrating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I came home and I said, I think we won. I felt we won because the rallies are so big. We'd go to Wisconsin and we'd go to Georgia. We'd go to different states. In Michigan, we'd have rallies. In Pennsylvania, we had 58,000 people in Butler. And I said, how are we losing this? How do you have a rally where you have from 50 to 100,000 people, many of them? I did 7 a day for a couple of days. That's a lot. These are big rallies too. And I didn't hold back. I didn't say, let's do abbreviations, right? But but they challenged the stuff.
Yeah.
Hillary called me up and conceded. Now, the word is that Obama said you have to do that. But she called up and totally conceded. But now, every time you see her on television, she's saying, like, well, she's challenging the election.
Do you
So
think
that would mean that she should be indicted, but that would mean also that Stacey Abrams in Georgia should be indicted, because she still thinks she won the election for governor. She still thinks that. She's never recanted. And
do you think Stacey Abrams will be indicted for that?
No, of course not. She won't be. The Democrats don't get indicted for things like that. They don't get impeached. No, it's a different thing. With that being said,
Yes.
I had great support when they did impeachment hoax number 1 and impeachment hoax number 2. Jim Jordan, the House was fantastic. And actually the Senate was very good for me, other than, Mitch McConnell. I think if we had, it's too bad I endorsed him. He was begging. He was going to lose that race, and I endorsed him, and he ended up winning the race because of my endorsement. He was down. He was going to lose to Amy McGrath, who $90 million in cash, all set to go. She was leading by 3. He was going down. I did him a favor, and then 3-4 months later, he really wanted to impeach me. He's a bad guy. But if you look at what's going on politically, it's so interesting. But the level of loyalty is different in politics than it is in normal life, I will say. With that being said, I've had great loyalty also. But the House was fantastic. The Senate was very good. They overrode Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, in my opinion, was trying to get senators to impeach me, especially for the second one. And on the first one, he acted very, very slow. He should have gone much faster. But Mitch McConnell wanted to, and the senators went up, the guys that are subservient to him, because he gives money. He gives them money. He gives them a lot of money. He raises some money, and he gives it to them, and therefore they do what he said. That's the only form of leadership he's got.
So last question, if you're elected president again, what's your number one priority? When you ran last time, you said I will build a wall. This time, your bottom line top promise to the
So you can do numerous things at the same time.
Of course.
But let's say number 1 is the border. And taking hundreds of thousands of criminals that have been allowed into our country and getting them out and bringing them back to their country, Guatemala. By the way, not only the 4 countries that we think of as neighbors, all over the world. Last month, we had 149 countries represented. Think of it. We had 149 countries represented, Tucker, from places that many people never even heard of, coming into our country. And they're coming in from mental institutions, and they're coming in from prisons. They're emptying out their prisons all over South America. They're emptying out their mental institutions. Terrorists are pouring into our country. We have no idea. I had the strongest border in the history of our country, and I built almost 500 miles of wall. They like to say, oh, was it less? No. I built 500 miles. In fact, if you check with the authorities on the border, we built almost 500 miles of wall, and I had another 200 that I was going to build. It's like water. It seeks. And we're going to build another 200. We built it. It was all set to go. All they had to do was install it. It would have taken 3 weeks. And that's when I found out. I said, I think these people actually want open borders. The first thing I would do would be, I would seal up the border good and tight, except for people that want to come in legally.
Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
There's tremendous passion and there's tremendous love. January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And some of the crowds I've spoken before. And like July 4th on the mall, I think they had 1 million people there. But I think that the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was on January 6th. And people that were in that crowd, a very, very small group of people, we said patriotically and peacefully and patriotically, right? Nobody ever says that. Go peacefully and patriotically. But people that were in that crowd that day, very small group of people went down there, and then there are a lot of scenarios that we can talk about. But people in that crowd said it was the most beautiful day they've ever experienced. But there was love in that crowd. There was love and unity. I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love. And I've also never seen simultaneously and from the same people such hatred of what they've done to our country.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict? Well, we seem to be
I
moving
don't
towards
know.
something.
I don't know because I don't know what it. I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Donald Trump, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
That is a bad combination.